Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. What a fucking announcement that was, eh? I think it's pretty good. I've had a lot of mixed responses along some DMs and chats and whatever. And overall, I'm just excited to really hear what you guys are thinking. The live chat is popping off like mad. And, you know, I don't even know where to start, guys. What an announcement. First of all, if you're joining us after we've been live, fist bump to you. If you're watching this long enough after we've been live, make sure to hit on the live chat and watch all the live chat popping off as we're doing it. If you're watching this after we've been live, then let your thoughts be known in the comment section down below. I will be visiting back into the comment section and we'll probably make a proper wee reaction video and we'll feature as much of that interaction from you guys out there as we possibly can. Fist bumps to everyone on arrival, but the live chat, guys, has been popping off. Yous were dancing to the tunes on the intro. Getting the chat going already. There's a bunchies here. Fist bumps to everyone on arrival, of course, as usual. And guys, it's a Thursday afternoon. We got the tee up. You know, I think from Monday or so, there was some kind of, you know, feel-goody messages coming out from Camp Nicholas. And then, you know, obviously we get the tee up on the Tuesday. This was coming today. And yeah, man, there was a lot of nervous energy in the air, I felt. Some people were like, oh, it can't be anything bad, surely, because everything's been sunshine and rainbows from Sorare themselves recently. So you would have expected coming into this, there wouldn't have been any straight removal. And again, people that I talk to directly, like, I was saying stuff like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like, it's 300 points for 100 quid or something, you know, which, you know, it's not really where we're at, but it's not really that far off either. So I did one proper read through when the thing came out, and then I've been setting up for the stream, and I thought I would have my second passing through with all of you guys as we're going through the live chat and everything. But there's a bunches here, guys. Now, at any point in the stream, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or anything like that, then please do like the stream. And if, you know, at any point, feel free to share it amongst your friends, your family, and your colleagues, you know. Now, we had somebody right early in the chat who was first, but in my live chat right now, they're not actually popping up. But I did see them sneaking in here a few hours ago to drop the #1 message. But Hype Bros is in here. We've got Glenn Hoddle, we've got Sam D, Jeremy Graham. There's a bunchies here. Guys, what is the consensus? A lot of the things that I'm hearing, and I'm just scrolling through and I can see this is a buzzword that's coming up a fair bit. And we'll start with this first of all, okay? Probably the most negative part of the most negative part of the announcement that I've came across to this point. Sorry guys, we glitchy on us. There we go. Boom. Has been the removal of the underdog and the specialist. That's been the main thing that most people have been upset about. And I don't, you know, it's funny, right? Because like when you read this entire article, Sorare's like what's the term? What's the words I'm thinking of here? Sorare's like language all the way throughout is based on feedback and based on internal evaluation. There's a mixture of everything going on here. I do expect that these modes may be returned at some point, but I think from Sorare's perspective, like if they could do this capped mode, which is probably from a technical perspective much less of a headache than working out L15 under 40s and all that kind of stuff in terms of like in-game code or whatever, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit easier for them and they're thinking then they can maybe dedicate more resources somewhere else. So let me know your thoughts on the removal of underdog and the removal of specialist. It was a, you know, actually I didn't do very well in specialist for as much as I targeted it, you know. And I think, you know, like when we looked at, you guys who are here, you'll have read it already, I'm sure, okay? But yeah, I want to know, first of all, just because that's the main kind of buzzword I'm seeing, what do you think about the removal of underdog and specialist? That's the stuff I want to see on the update. I think the good stuff is quite apparent, isn't it? You know, like, I honestly, I'm blown away by, you know, how comprehensive top to bottom this now reaches, you know, because I did not expect this to stretch up the way it has, you know, particularly uniques, man. You know, if you've got some uniques, you'll be buzzing right now. But down at limited level, the threshold, we'll go through those details in a second. But yeah, I want to catch up on the live chat because there's a bunchies here. The lower tiers might go up now if they're needed. The tier 3 will be worth more now. Yeah, so, right, so we'll get to the thresholds part of it as well. And then I can catch what you guys are saying about the tier 3 prices should go up, like NBA, the 25 to 40 point players. Yeah, I've got a bunch of them, so I know what they're kind of going through the now. RNDM, negative Hertz rare threshold teams Hurts whales in rare, but benefits them overall in card value. It's fair, I suppose. Hurts, oh, sorry, the chat's popping away here. Hurts players who simply buy overpowered cards and overmuscle them, and outmuscle the minnows, but still stability. RNDM, that's a fantastic comment, my man. Thank you very much. Is there any way I can, like, highlight that or something? Maybe I can, I'm not sure. I'm trying to press buttons here, but it's not happening. I see Jonathan Gargi, I see Pablo Bro, XMK Productions. A lot of the regular legends are with us here in the live chat as well. Great update. This is from Morris. Only hard thing will be 0 captain, 0 XP bonus. Now, the thing I actually really like about that is, again, long-standing viewers of the channel will know, I've long kind of imagined that the super rare cards and above in particular will become, like, you know, professional cards, you know, like top tier cards are worthwhile assets to have for what they activate in the game. And that's why primarily I am so blown away with this, because £100 threshold for super rares. Now, if you look at my collection of super rares, I'm not scared of this points cap or the points required to win it, particularly with guys that, like Giacomakis and Maeda, who are always on and off the bench and stuff like that, but can always get 60 odd, 70 points, you know. So, like, I think that's a step in that direction. And again, like, I think for the, and I'm kind of all over the place, guys, and I'm quite cautious. I'm quite aware that I'm just kind of talking and going all over the place. And I'm trying to come in with you guys in the live chat. I'm going to try and keep this as coherent as I possibly can, because there is hundreds of these here. Thank you very much to everyone who's joined us live. Fist bump. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like the stream. It means a lot to me. Of course, there's plenty of content. Actually, that's what I was doing before all this. There's plenty of content getting recorded and locked and loaded over the next coming weeks and months, you know. So if you enjoy this stuff, then I'm sure you'll enjoy all that too. Also thought the thing is, under 23 SR, no rare goalkeeper now. Knocks 40%. Yeah, so the, and again, like, that does kind of play into what I was saying there, the removal of the rare eligibility. Now, I actually had, you guys will know this, I recently won a super rare Benoit Costil, who plays for Auxerre, from the Specialist Limited, from the Specialist Super Rare division, I'm sure it was. And I've been trying to sell him, and I actually had him listed for the lowest price I've had him listed. And as soon as I read, like, it was one of these headlines on the article, let me go and put it back on screen. It was something really early on. It was like, yeah, it was like, new ETH thresholds and capped modes for Sorare, and then it was something really quickly that it says less complex and balanced across all divisions. So straight away, I just went over to Sorare, and then I went into here and I went, my listings, and then it was listed here somewhere, and I just went, cancel. And then went back to reading the article. Because I think, yeah, like, that card will be very much worth more now than what I had listed it for. But yeah, so this is the new game cap mode. So only one super rare is allowed in the unique capped mode, which means the super rare goalkeeper, if you've got a couple of uniques floating about, is even more important now. But otherwise, there's no mixing of scarcities between these capped modes. And these capped modes now completely replace what we used to call Special Weekly, what we then became Specialist and Underdog, and what has now became Specialist International, or International Specialist, or whatever. We're going to be saying goodbye again to all of those game modes and that kind of you know, bracket of your brain when you're thinking about cards and strategy for the game week. And it's now going to become the capped modes. And I don't know if that's just going to be the name of the division, like super rare capped or rare capped or something, or rare threshold, or, you know, I don't know what the actual name of the division is going to be. And I think the date for implementation is as of Jan 30th, we will introduce new mode. So Jan 30th is as far as Sorare data and lineup builder gets us to. If you didn't check out the video that went on the channel like 2 days ago, I went into the lineup builder. It's only a 5-minute video, and it's mainly just to prompt you to go and do it for your own gallery, you know. But you can see the main game weeks that I highlight that are important to me might be important to you. But again, that's the game. So from that point onwards, it's going to be that line in the sand. We've been here a few times with some Sorare innovations, and it's going to be this kind of new dawn. Again, I've got people in DMs, and I'll check in with the live chat again in a second, saying that this is not going to be easy to hit. And I don't really think it is, but I'm not scared of it either. You know, I don't think it's going to be that brutal, because I think, like, the majority of goalkeepers I've got, like, are what, you know, L15 is like 56 at best, really. You know, like, I don't have that many goalkeepers that I think get pure high L15s. So then I'm thinking about 190 points across 4 outfielders. Again, I don't often get guys that really break into huge L15 scores, but can be effective. So I think for, like, you know, my gallery now in terms of personnel and quality is very much, like, you know, normal in that respect. I've just got a lot of bigger scarcity cards, I suppose. But, you know, even scaling that back into even the limiteds I've got, being able to pull $5 a game week out of limiteds now for these underdog and these specialist entries is absolutely massive, because limiteds have been falling like a knife, man. Like no one's, you know, the prices of them has just been going back and back. And this gives them something that they've never had before, because winning, like everyone says it, like tier 3 limiteds that are worth like 10p or 10 cents or 50 cents or whatever, is that really worth going in and plugging away? And yeah, they do add to your squad, and yeah, they can build you up and whatever. But for that division to then yield, and I'm sure that, you know, this is a threshold thing. I'm sure there will still be cards in these divisions as well. I think that's maybe been overlooked at this stage, but I'm sure there will be big, you know, it's just going to be maybe like an extension of All-Star in that way, that will be a big tier 3 part. Oh, probably. Yeah, well, will be the prize pools that we've had, and actually, as I'm talking out loud with you guys now, it will be the prize pools, I suspect, that we've had in Underdog and in Specialist and in Underdog under 40. You know, there's been a few ones floating around that we've had, and the prize pools there on individual game weeks have been quite spicy, have been quite tasty. Let me check what you guys are saying. I really don't know how to feel about it. I've been picking up the odd card, trying to slowly build a rare threshold. I have 8 cards now, just slipping my way affordable goalkeepers. Yeah, this should be. And Kahuna Gaming made that comment there that I just read out. And do you know, I think if you've been building, I think this should give you even more. Like, you know, this is going all the way to the end of the European season. And like they've said in the announcement here, they will then reevaluate it, but with the view of keeping it sustainable. And that is probably, for me, one of the biggest takeaways from this, is a clear 100%. There's nothing ambiguous about this. I've seen this with Laird, I'm sure, on some content probably on his channel at Sorare Data, maybe over here. I'm sure it was Laird, it might have been someone else, but I'm sorry. Is that every time that they've spoke about this, as this article alludes to their previous communications, it's always been quite ambiguous, but this is very direct. They're like, this is what we're going to put in. This is what we believe this division is going to do. We believe in this division so much that we're getting rid of all this other stuff that we know you liked it, but we've got something better that we think is going to scratch that itch for you and achieve that in-game opportunity for farming, for yielding, for progressing, for grinding that these other divisions have attempted to do to this point. At which point, at least July 2023, we will then evaluate our data and threshold values ahead of the next season. We would love to be able to commit to a final value that stays in stone, but we need flexibility as we scale to find the right balance across scarcities for the best gameplay experience. So this feels like, you know, almost the finished article for what they envisage this own your game, beat the game element of Sorare matures and evolves into becoming. And I think it's fantastic for what we've got at the moment. Now, all of your feedback, all of my feedback, everyone's feedback, it gets totally recognized by Sorare. I don't think there's any question about that at all. And I don't think they make decisions. I don't think they're easily swayed by public opinion, if that makes sense. But they do not discount it at all. It 100% comes into their reckoning. So everything that we all experience and go through this, like, we've already got a date there. So we're going to be running from this from the 30th of January. It will then be reevaluated and set for the following season on the 30th of July. So we've got 6 months of any growing pains or any like bumps in the road that this system might have. That's when we're going to have it. And then for the following season, with the data they've then collected and the experiences that we've all went through, for better or for worse, it should be then a finished article that we know that this is the game mode. There's not really any change in it. They're as big as they're going to be. The game is as robust and as round, and it's got as much access to utility as it's ever going to have, etc., etc. So yeah, on that level, that was one of the main things that I just really took away from it. Like I said in the kind of intro to that, like, I've always thought that eventually, like, super rares and the higher scarcities do become like pro poker stars. Like, you know, like that's the esport. Like, those cards should be. And again, when you come into this division, the bonuses don't mean anything. That's kind of what got me onto that thread earlier on from one of your comments. But that's fantastic, because then it doesn't mean that you're just winning that because you've got, you know, like, you will need to still understand the base SO5, and then it's your budget that's dictating what color of cards you're buying. Like, if you want to play with that level of nous, but you've got a 6-figure budget, then you're buying super rares, because super rares now, with the amount of availability there is, even post this announcement, I don't think will be mentally priced to be able to get a team that can fit this cap, for example. And the same can be extrapolated up and down from unique to limited, I would say. So Counter Gaming, like, for me, like, I think if you've been slowly building, I think you've been really sensible in your approach, and I think now you're probably in a really good position where you can choose to strike in a number of different ways, potentially. Spent so long grinding XP for threshold cards, all pointless again. Well, Aaron Sykes, like, those cards are still going to be top dollar in All-Star and under 23 or any regions that you go play them in. So, yeah, I wouldn't really, hey, I wouldn't really worry about that. We have said before, like, with some of the limited stuff, because they have put, because, like, you want the XP to be valuable to enough people in enough situations, but it can't be the be-all and end-all in every mode, because then, like, again, anyone who's been on the game for 5 years will always beat somebody who's been here for 2 minutes, and, like, on the basis and the merit of fantasy football and own your game and all that kind of stuff, like, there's a time and a place for that, and it is like All-Star, it is the regions and whatever, but this division is where they've decided where it's not, and it's just based on pure fantasy. You really need to know your team and know your numbers, and a wee bit of XP isn't going to save you, but the rewards are probably bigger as a result. Yeah, Philly Dilly kind of says the same thing here as well. Limited should spike, limited goalkeeper should rocket, says tackle taken slowly Pickford or something. Oh, I think I've done well with the name there. Kernico, what about card rewards in capped mode? Well, it doesn't say that they aren't any, and I would, like I've already said, like, I would suspect that we are going to get card rewards in here, because there's plenty of cards available to be rewarded in specialist, underdog, and all these different divisions and scarcities. So maybe it's not the full prize pool from both of them slapped together and put in here. Maybe it is like the specialist prize pool that goes in here, and what was underdog goes back into All-Stars, for example. Maybe make All-Star like a really fat tier 2 and tier 3 pool. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see exactly how they do reallocate some of these prize pools, because they've had to be really clever over the last year of forging and identifying cards and prize pools for different competitions and making sure that they'll last all season long. So all the prizes and rewards that they will have allocated to this point for specialist and underdog, in their mind, on their whiteboard, as I imagine it, that's the prize pool for special competitions for the specialists, and I think that's what will be the card rewards for this cap division. My entire gallery targets super rare underdog. Not sure where this leaves me. Do I get a super rare DNP goalkeeper? I think I'll be selling, but got to wait this out a bit. WP Gaming, I think if you've got a super rare underdog team, then you're rubbing your hands together, because, like, scoring 240, even if you do go and get the DNP goalkeeper, like, if you've got enough, if you get good enough guys that was your target anyway, you would have needed to score 240 points, but rather than now, like, you maybe get a tier 3 super rare that's maybe not worth very much. Maybe you still get that and it might actually help you, but to get 100 quid worth of ethereum every game week for that entry, I don't know why I would be upset with that. Personally, buy a pass sphere. There are card rewards, I asked and got clarified. Fantastic. So it has been clarified. Best to use capped as a glorified training lineup, says a man. Well, I suppose it depends on your strategy in the game. For me, like, I have prioritized All-Star Rare over the last little bit, because I do think the global prize pool really suits me as a player, and I don't think that's going to change. But what I think this does do now is it really does put an onus on me for having a goalkeeper that can be eligible for this capped division also. So I will probably be needing... Yeah, I'll probably be needing a rare goalkeeper. I think I'm well equipped squad-wise elsewhere, and I had a rare keeper ironed out already, but it was just for a wee bit of rotation, a wee bit of calendar relief, But I might actually need it now for caps relief, but this doesn't kick in until the beginning of February, at which point, actually, MLS won't be too far away. All the European leagues will be back, basically, by that point also. So there will be a lot of choice available, so that'll be quite interesting, and we've got plenty of time to plan for it, basically 2 months at this point, which is fantastic. Let's see what else you guys are saying. I can only dream about rare, never mind super rare. Removes the problem of buying an SR L50 under 40 for specialist and then being useless the week after. Exactly, Adam Bishop, that's a great point. But yeah, without captain bonus makes my super rare venture lots harder. Yeah, it probably does, but it makes everyone's lots harder. And it is 240 points, so like, depending on the players in question, like, I don't think it's going to be that hard. Like, really, like, how often do you get like 240 points, like, with 4 cards and stuff? I don't know. I'm just overall, like, obviously me directly, I can play limited rare and super rare on this new dynamic straight away. So for that aspect for me, like I think this is absolutely a home run and a winner. And when I'm really interested, because a lot of you guys I'm talking to, you will be like scarcity specific, and that's it's always really interesting to get your feedback because you guys will know like how you feel is the most important. It's not how I feel, you know. This is great. Now you can play with a low budget for serious rewards. I would say so, Jury DeBoer as well. Fist bump, by the way. Thanks for joining us, because I think like if you are going to be yielding. And even picking up those like guys cheap on auction, like we were talking the other day, it was McBride that was bringing up how cheap the unique Ferran Torres went for. But you know, at all levels, even if you look at, I've been making videos talking about how cheap, like, and again, I know this guy's not amazing, right? But David Silva is £3, right? You know what I mean? If he helps you to one capped thing, you're £2 up already on a David Silva, and you know, David Silva's a fun guy to have. Anyway, I'm sure you can find better examples, right? But that you guys know where my soft spots are. And David Silva, of course, is one of them. My point remains. I think, yeah, so anyway, so I find it interesting to hear, you know, WP Gaming, they're talking about the super rare side of things. Some of you guys talking about how you feel slowly building rares. But when I look at, so let's even just have a look at this, right? So if I look at my lineup builder, again, check the video out if you didn't, from the other day, if you want to see the calendar stuff in a bit more detail. But if I just run to the first game week, the last game week of the old system, right? Have I built all the teams and stuff? I've not built a limited team yet, right? So I could have a wee look at that. But look at all the averages of most of my guys. Now, I know particularly the Celtic players will have matches, but like most guys, like, don't really like get that high average of an L15, really, you know, because now in modern football, like the power of 5 subs is so underestimated for how much effect it makes on so many players. Like every team has got 5 players basically that will not get 90 minutes. And when you extrapolate that over like the way clubs and managers will segregate the season into chunks, you know, like plan for this next batch of fixtures before a break or before a cup match or whatever. You'll see clear patterns of rotation and whatever, and depending on how many cards you've got, of course, that will be much easier to navigate. But the point remains, like, almost, like, there's very few footballers that are immune to the 5 sub situation, like, because good players, the clubs want to look after them, and bad players don't influence matches, you know, so... and then the guys you can rely on for 90, they can't play 90 all the time because you need them for 90 for the big games. So, you know, I think... maybe some of these details are maybe a bit understated at this point. Mammoot, Quinny, do you think scouting will be the main thing now to get a threshold? You have to spend at least a bit of searching for players. Mammoot, I think totally. It will make a huge difference because I've noticed with NBA, like when I'm on doing this stuff, right, I don't go and buy NBA cards, right? I've got a little batch and then I'm just trying to always make the best combinations that I possibly can. But I know from watching, again, the great content over at Sorare Data, when they've got Alex Super, Gator Guy, and Andy Laird on talking about basketball, is that if you know, like some of the way we know football is the way they know basketball, you know, like you know that Ajax at home to somebody always beat them 6-0, and it's always like anyone that plays could get 2 decisives kind of idea. Then that's maybe the game week where you play the guy off the bench. And obviously Ajax is an easy example for me to paint, but in every division, like there's a team in Austria that's always in the bottom half, but they've got a great home record. I forget who the team is, but you know they were in the bottom half last year, and I don't think they're doing great this year off the top of my head. But the point remains is scouting and knowledge and details definitely will have much more weight on the leaderboard than ever before. Somebody else said it in one of the comments, like it stops people out muscling. It might even, it was somewhere, somebody said to me that this mode will stop people just out muscling, just going and buying 5 big heavy hitters, L15s out the eyeballs. You know, they're all thousands of pounds for the rare, hundreds of pounds for the limited versions, and you know, they're plug and play every game week. They're high XP out the eyeballs, they play in dominant teams. You know, those situations will not be found here, and we've not seen that in Specialist, we've not seen that in Underdog. And because I think a lot of the power players on the leaderboards in particular like to play to their strengths, I think so many people will write this division off in terms of the card, you know, at this point anyway, the card potential. So yeah, I'm all in on it. I think it's quality overall, like personally. But yeah, I'm scrolling back for some comments because there's been tons in here that I've not got to. Rare Pro still exists, Kernico. I think that does, yeah. They are destroying the game, says Tom Rosema. Please elaborate, my man. Is there still an all-star division? Yeah, I believe there is. If an average team is 240, hitting 250 is automatically difficult. Well, I agree and disagree, right? Because if your average game over 15, that is the average result that you pull in, right? But to pull in an average of, like some of the guys we just looked at there, an average of 48 or something, there will be games in there where you score 72, and there'll be games in there where you score 39 or whatever. I don't know. And that range across 4 players, you know, the different, you know, they're not all going to do 48 on the same game week. Someone will do 36, someone will do 78, someone will do 64, and someone will do 58, and then the goalkeeper does 55. Add that up. I don't think it's going to be too far away from 240. But that's the way most players and most teams that are built kind of work. You know, you don't have everyone smashing, and that's what stops me winning cards. It's like, oh, 2 guys done it, you know. And I know the captain actual point bonus doesn't come into it, but I knew the captain, like you knew the guy was going to have a great game that much. You captained him, you know, like these game experiences, these tactics and strategies, these kind of mental gymnastics you go through with picking your team and deploying your team are still going to be valuable and are still going to be present, I would suggest. So yeah, I don't get some of that personally. You need to, yeah, well, but again, on the averages thing, because, yeah, so again, like if you look at basketball, like some guys, like I've got it on screen here. Is there a guy I've got that's a good example? Yeah, so where's Malik Monk, right? Where is he? Malik Monk is probably a good example, right? He's been one of these guys that I've had a bit of banter with. I'll just type him in here, right? So his L15 or whatever, right? Is just because we're talking about basketball being an example, Malik, is that how you spell it, isn't it? Monk? Aye. It's 25, 28, right? But if you actually look at his scores, he never really does score that well, you know? It is like, you can get these crap scores in amongst the bigger ones as well, and I think his L10 or whatever it is, I'm losing my mind now with numbers and whatever, it's always way skewed out to be higher than what he's actually going to be dropping in 17s and 19s and whatever. So I think some of the creases and some of the details around this, so we've got a wee notification, thresholds have been updated. I don't think some of them will be as severe as maybe some of you guys are worried about, and I definitely think there'll be some stuff I'm underestimating, and it could be the same thing that we're talking about. But yeah, I don't think the average of 240 thing is necessarily the case, particularly with the more players you've got as well. You needed around 350 points in All-Star for a card. Do we think that goes down with most people moving to capped modes? XMK, I think it would go down as well, because the amount of points required to win an underdog and a specialist is not that of All-Star, etc. And a part of that is the no XP, the no captain bonuses, as well as the difficulty of fulfilling the criteria to deploy a team. So I do think that, yes, like even getting like 300, 320, you might, on the right game week, you know, the window might be open for you to go and get something amazing. Yeah, David Taylor makes a good point about NBA market boost and all that kind of stuff with, you know, people getting guys with good L15s. It looks good for the average player. It's Score, by the way, I bought a Liam Scales earlier today, and he might actually be quite useful for a game mode like this, but I thought you'd be interested to hear that. It looks good for the average player, giving them more chance to win money and invest back into the platform. Yeah, I think overall, especially if you're spread across different scarcities, I think it's fantastic. And then, yeah, there's been some more comments from you guys. So XMK, at least it gives the extra decision to make who to captain. Yeah, an extra sweat. Yeah, I suppose it does. Just look at Hugo Gallo, fist bump, good to see you, my man. They just took away income to get better slowly hitting the 250 All-Star Rare Weekly. I don't really understand. They just took away income to get better slowly hitting the 250. I don't know if that's related to something I just said. I'm sorry. It might be difficult in the beginning for new managers, says Rose 11, to reach 250 with a 240 cap. But as you progress, your gallery gets bigger, and you will surely find a potential lineup. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there too, Roll. Like, it might not be something you get day one, but once you've got like 8 or 9 guys that play every week, you'll be able to line up the right fixtures and that kind of thing. Mbappe, Kimmich, Messi, unlikely to be used. Yeah, definitely. Unless they're all on to bang 100 and you line them up with 2 DNPs and bring in a 300 pointer. If that's worth it, I doubt it. But there's limited tier 3 worth more than $5, but you keep getting 34-year-olds. It can become very frustrating. Tier 3 are big, and I'd prefer the cards all day, long as a user, a Sorare user. Fair enough. Johnny TH, I understand that completely. I think it feels like we're getting both. You know, this is underdog with threshold. Love it, says Shakaboom. Yeah, it's probably a good synopsis, but we do have the goalkeeper, obviously, to worry about. If you look at rare specialist, around 300 of the 2,300 get 250 points. And I think an average team in specialist has L15 of a total of 260 points. Oyston Nedrebo. I hope I've pronounced your name, my man. Fist bump to you. What a contribution. What a great bit of detail. So let me give you that again, guys. Oyston here has uncovered this gem. And rare specialist, right? Which probably not actually no one prioritizes. Rare specialist is training, right? No one puts any time or effort into that. Okay, so with like the bottom of the barrel teams, I would suggest, are getting made in this division. 300 of the 2,300 get to 250 points. So that's about 15% or so. That's probably the amount of people that take that division moderately seriously, I would suggest. And I think an average team of specialists has an L15 of a total of 260. So, yeah, nice detail that most... So, yeah, I'd probably say all of the people that are fielding a team that have 5 players that play and that is, like, fitting the criteria and they might have a stab at actually maybe getting a card or two, they're pretty much all breaking the 250, but they're probably doing it with a slightly better team than what we're going to be used to. So that's basically the removal of your L15 over 60, really, isn't it? And I never really had many of those guys in my underdog and my specialist team anyway. So yeah, if that's the way. Oyston, love that detail, by the way. Thank you very much again. There's plenty more coming in here. That place to use cards. This is Johnny again talking about cards over ETH. No incentive to hold players for game modes. Fair enough. Well, it depends. Because XP will still come in the big game modes that you're still really targeting to win the biggest and best prizes, you know. It was my weekly income, the 250 cap, always hitting it. Nice. Is kickoff out as well? I'm not sure. I don't think there'll be any change to kickoff, to be quite honest with you. Everyone with a rare team got around 205 points is not happy. Yeah, Rico Croef, I understand that, but like you're only 40. You know, if you've got a team that gets 205, you're probably the goalkeeper away, I'd suggest. If not, you've got like some really bad outfielders, and you're only then one good player away, probably maybe 2, from changing that around. But it's a great point, Rico. If you're a 205 regular, this puts you under the cosh a bit. But if you're a 205 regular, then your team is definitely going to qualify for the cap right from the off. It will just then be getting the extra piece or two that can put you over the top, which is part of their thing that they want us to be doing with this, you know. It is going to. This is T-Bolt Shepherd, fist bump, my man. It is going to be harder to get the threshold without the captain and card bonuses. Yeah, I would agree. I've 18 0 L15 Brad Guzans, who's buying Kahuna Gaming. When the MLS comes back, Brad Guzan is going to be the Keegan Murray of MLS. Anna SH, your comment wasn't mentioned, sorry. The Sorare article, yeah. This sounds like music to my ears with 6 limited goalkeepers. I think so as well. XP being irrelevant is harsh as well. I think for this mode, I would disagree, Arsenal dude, but I've spent all this time building up my XP, and as a threshold merchant, it is essentially useless now. If you're in rares, then I understand, like, for the fresh... I don't know why I thought you were coming from the limited angle at first there, Arsenal dude, so I beg your pardon on that one. But yeah, I suppose for the rares, it is a bit of a kick in the teeth, I suppose, if that's the only division that you're playing. But again, if you're going to be pulling out $50 a week in this game mode, that, you know, your players are probably going to be a bit more conducive to playing, then yeah, I think you're just, I think the net gains are overall in your favour, to be quite honest. But I do understand, because I think if you do then rock into a region outside of this, like you're still benefiting wildly from it, and you'll find that, you know, because I'm looking at, I don't care about XP as much. Like, I'm not going to, like, I'll be playing some high XP cards in this division, which means I then don't have a high XP copy of that card that you maybe have as well in the same division that you're in with the high XP, if that makes sense. Like, you know, so that's something else to think about as well, is the XP players are still, you know, it's not as if their XP can be reallocated to somebody else. So if they are getting deployed in this no XP league, then there's less high XP cards in theory you should be fighting against in the regions and such. Proud Guzan holder for Jacob Haynes as well. Loving it. Scales will only help me if he stays with Aberdeen. I mainly got him for like a wee bit because I'm looking at Carter Vickers, right, and he's like half an ETH now, which I think is a great price for Vickers. But I've not really got half an ETH for a Vickers at the moment. And you know, like I got Scales for like 0.09, and he plays every SPFL game week anyway. He's a Celtic player on loan at Aberdeen, if you don't know, and he scores pretty well. He's under 23 for the rest of the season. I don't really care about that, but it's a nice detail to add in there. So he's like a really poor man's Carter Vickers is how I'm thinking of him. In an SO5 sense, of course. The market impact got handled very well. Even 205 hunters will be able to sell cards for a fair price. Yeah, Morris Pike, that's fair enough. Like, if you did want to reposition, I don't think anything here is going against you at all anymore. I think the XP is the thing I'm the most annoyed about, says Kahuna Gaming. Fair enough. Like, I understand that. You'll know better than I. This was to stop going bookies with more excitement. How will this affect the market? Because I've invested 1 ETH on limited. I think limiteds, like some limiteds that are useful. And I think I think if you've been investing money in limiteds, okay, and I really don't like the investing word with Sorare cards. It just gives me like the creeps. I don't like the investing words. Bad connotations with other endeavors. But I think if you've been looking at your limited roster on Sorare data, and you've been seeing the value of it going up and down. Mine's is actually up, like, it was 2.1 yesterday, so it's up a fair bit today, to say the least. What was I going to say? So yeah, I think checking this page and looking for any guys you don't want, you're waiting for them to spike, and then you can just move in and out of them. So I think like every dog has their day. That's what I've realised with NBA, is some of these guys I overpaid for wildly on early access auctions, if you like. Where, you know, day one wasn't early access, it wasn't special for me, you know, but just getting the cards early backfired on me quite greatly. But anyway, some of them like do catch a spike because their L10 or whatever is in your favour. And that will definitely happen again in football. And because, like, yeah. So I think, anyway, if you did want to move some limiteds on, you will get some very attractive windows in the spring, I would suggest. In the build-up to that, there will be pre-hype, pre-excitement, anticipation, speculation. All that stuff will be going on. You can sell into that maybe as well. Depends on what your strategy is overall. But this page will now be your Bible. You will wake up in the morning, and this will be the first page that you check, and you'll be going through every card you've got. You might not have, you know, I've got quite a lot of cards, of course, but, you know, you'll probably be doing this. And any cards you were unsure about, any strategies you were maybe wanting to move out of, like somebody was mentioning earlier, because this change is widespread benefit, really. You will have more maneuverability to dance around in now, you know, I believe more than ever before, which is cool, you know. So yeah, this is your new homepage. How will this affect? Oh yeah, so Ugo Gallo, in terms of limiteds and stuff, like, I think you've probably done well picking up a bunch of limiteds before this announcement, and you'll probably have some good fun maybe selling them on and using them now. Got lots of youth DNP limited goalkeepers, could play them now. Sorare Wakey Academy, great strategy, fist bump, my man. Just bought rare goalie on auction, $29. Jeremy Graham, congratulations, my man. There's news on Guzan that forced me to sell, or otherwise I would have him. Ouch. And then, sorry, the comments all jumped away from me there. Plenty of SPFL talent that will fit into the cap nicely. Kevin Nesbitt at Hibs, yeah, he could do alright as well. Sorry, my exposure just went mad there. I'm sorry, guys. But Kevin Nesbitt could do alright. Overall, it's a solid update, says Arsenal dude. Was prepared for worse, so looking forward to the MLS season. Yeah, honestly, I was so taken aback by how far-reaching that this is, that it is touching limiteds with $5, super rares, uniques. Like, will rares drop a wee bit? Maybe there's some people that, nah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think there's any reason for anything to have a directly negative impact as a result of this. Unless you're, like, for me, for example, like, for the amount of limited cards I've got, they will still be very useful for me for rotating through that cap and making sure I'm always hitting it. But, again, that's one lineup, and it's not underdog and specialist, which was 2 lineups. So, depending on how many limiteds you had, or how many rares, maybe, depending on what scarcity that you mainly focus in and how many cards you actually have, maybe there is a bit of a trim that you could do if you were specialising and focusing, like somebody was mentioning earlier, in the underdogs and the specialists to try and capture. Well, I wonder what's going to happen with unique prizes, because I was Yeah, I was targeting specialist super rare to try and win some unique cards. So I wonder where those rewards will go. If they go into this division as well, then that is fantastic. Actually, I'm quite interested to find out what happens with that part of things. Exactly the same as me. Arsenal dude in corner. Good to see. Finley Dilly have a couple of stacks of goalkeeper, defender. Going to be super useful. Yeah, probably is, because they will have L15 scores that are quite small, and then you can boost them with set piece takers and whatnot in midfield and attack. I love that. Rico Kroef, Sorare and Freeways, no captain. L from Sorare and Freeways, no captain. XP, cap 240, 205, yeah, 205 threshold leaving. So Rico's quite upset with basically the premise, the new premise. Rico, I'm sorry. But yeah, I suppose if you're a 205 hardcore, relying on XP to get you over there and good captain picks, then this does totally undo the foundation of your strategy, I suppose. But you've still got the minerals of what you need going forward, I would say, you know. And you've got 2 months to find the missing pieces. I'm really interested in seeing the All-Star Rare prize pool now. Yeah, me too, Jonathan B. Prize pools going forward will be very interesting. The chat is just running away here, sorry. Mikey Basson, fist bump. Take a look at Richie Delat, a player. He is primed for that candidate capped mode, you're right. Aaron Sykes, they couldn't keep 205 if you're putting a 240 cap on. Yeah, you're probably right there, Aaron Sykes. Save your big XP cards to play in the regional tourneys, says Terror Hitham Team, which I know has got something to do with Stish, because that was an email account I got something from. Fist bump and welcome. Thanks for joining us. Johnny TH, who want to play him? Hey bro, no user from NBA, looking forward to getting stuck into football side with these new changes. Rob F, welcome. And yeah, well, we have a good fun with us. We need the ratio score on Sorare Data football now. Yes, we probably do need that ratio score, don't we? Guys that will overperform. Pontus Tilmar, will it not be worth playing for rare threshold with a DNP goalkeeper? Yes, if you've got outfielders that can accomplish that, then yeah, that's definitely a strategy people will do. DNP limited goalkeepers are going to go up. Anna SH, that's a good point. They could. When is it this comes into effect? From January 31st. So it'll be game week 341. Write that down. Game week 341 will be the first game week of the new system. Is what I believe and understand at this point. I really like this update. This is Simon Racing. Fist bump, been a while, my man. They just spread the rare prices and prizes to other scarcities. Winning even a $5 or even 250 is nice. Right now, you wouldn't win anything. Yeah, that's a good point, Simon M. Is they're taking the money that was getting paid out to the 205 players, and they're probably just giving that to the limiteds, and a bit of that is probably filtering into the rest of it as well. Probably, yeah. Means I've got a good period of using my supers over the next month. Yeah, for sure. Good time to attack these specialist divisions and really rack up the stock. So you've got enough pieces to maneuver in this division. So yeah, it's a good time to be going hard and winning cards for sure. Is it useful keeping an eye on players not getting game time? Nick Ross, 100%. Manor Solomon, it will be nice. Jonathan Gargi, fist bump, that's a great shout. Super rare goalkeepers are going to rock it. Yep, I took one off the market. I believe that will happen too. Evening Quinny, Moldy, my man, thanks for joining us. Hit that like button, everyone. Sorare Malta, I hope they keep rare rewards in cap. Yeah, I think they will. They should. I've just got a fairly cheap limited gallery, all SPL with 3 starting keepers and a few clubs stacked. Love this update, says Ian Sorare. Fist bump, thanks for joining us. And I think it's a great update for a gallery like yours as well. Gabriel Arisian, thanks for joining us. Would it be smart to invest in DNP limited goalkeeper now? It's a kind of hard question to answer, my man. You really need to be on Sorare Data, and the people that it will be sensible to do that for, you will be able to see. So can I even filter this by position? Yes, I can. So let's see goalkeeper for me in limiteds. So, all right, Soria, who's a playing goalkeeper, Trap, Fuzato, they've not done anything since this announcement. DNP goalkeepers, they've not moved yet. So again, depending on who you're after, maybe, yeah, maybe they are worth getting. I would always recommend a rookie because I just like rookies and I think they've got something else about them that's not just the DNP element. If they did come in, they're maybe U23 for a while and they're a rookie. Rookies are always nice to have. So if you're going to use some sort of profiling and you wanted something a little bit more than just your random run-of-the-mill DNP limited, I'd maybe try and get a rookie if the price difference isn't that much of a bulk. But yeah, I don't see much of a difference here. But again, how much are we hoping these cards become? So like, let's say you went out and bought every Silvio Lung you could for 0016 Ethereum, which if we change this into pound notes, 2 seconds. Let's change this into pound notes. So we'll make this example nice and clear. Right, so the cheapest DNP goalkeeper I've got. There we go. The cheapest DNP goalkeeper I've got is £1.71, right? So really, what are we hoping? We buy like 20 Silvio Lungs for £1.71. Oh, sorry, my head's in the way. There you go. £1.71. And then what do we hope? That he becomes Axel Werner for £5? That he becomes... I don't know. Like, what do we hope that he then becomes, really? It's hard to say. Silvio Long will have international utility, it must be said, if his team play in the Asian Champions League. So you will get a slither of utility out of somebody like that, potentially. And again, maybe some of these details are worth noting when selecting DNP keepers, if that's a route you're going to go. But I would bear in mind, you know, what is the risk reward here? Like, you're buying a guy for £1. Like, what could he go down to, realistically? He could go down to nothing. Like, he really could. It's a limited DNP goalkeeper. It could go down to nothing. And what could it go up to? So I don't know. Like, I'm quite risk averse. Regular viewers of the channel will know that. Like, and again, it's why I've got huge admiration for a friend of the channel like McBride and lots of other big trader accounts that we have on the channel frequently. It's because sometimes I've just not got the balls to go out and buy 50 of somebody. I mean, I probably should. So it's a really hard question for me to answer. Why do we need DNP goalkeepers? Ugo Gallo is asking. Well, some people want to run the strategy of playing the DNP goalkeeper in the cap so that the cap is 0. And then you get 240 points for your 4 outfielders, and then you can go and attack it that way. Back to the XP thing, though. XP is now useless for every mid-tier card. But again, if you're going to be... I don't think that's a problem, because the capped cards, you want them to be fluid. You can trade them in and out. So having the XP getting eroded on every transaction, that's not valuable to that division. Then subsequently, your card that you bought for that division is less valuable then for that division to the next person that would pick it up, if that makes sense. So I think for the market fluidity of it, it kind of makes sense. The XP doesn't come into it, because then whatever card you want to pick up, the XP is irrelevant. You're just after any one of them. Limited, rare, super rare, whatever. So again, that's just the first thought I have when I read that. That's all. You know, my thoughts. But I do totally see where you're coming from as well. Limited are for football fans who just love football and enjoy Sorare. So Johnny TH, I think limiteds are absolutely fantastic for the passive football fan now. XP is now relevant only for higher tier cards. Probably true. Arsenal did it 100%. Without E threshold, the DNP keeper, yeah, I think these are kind of talking now what we're saying. It's the tournaments that keep the limited players to hold their value. Yeah, because again, like if you happen upon a guy that plays capped for you all the time, and you maybe own him for a month or two, and you look at him one day and you're like, wow, this guy's at level 12. He's got a great fixture. I've got a team going out in All-Star Limited, and do you know what? He's got huge XP, and I can captain him, blah, blah, blah. And that might make the difference when you go into the regions. So, again, like, I've not turned over that many cards to facilitate. Like, if you watch my streams often enough, you'll know that guys like Max Arnold, Kramaric, you know, some guys that are regular characters in my specialist and my underdog lineups, because they're of a profile, they're of a certain score range, and they have potentials, blah, 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 right? You know what they're all about. But my point remains is, to play these divisions, I didn't turn over anywhere near the amount of cards I thought I would have needed to or wanted to play that division. It was just the odd occasion, L15 under 40, that was a fiver or something I picked up. But when those divisions were first launched, I think we all assumed there would be so much upheaval. You would just take a team, like Josh Forth did and a few other people know. They bought a team, played it, and sold it. That's fine. But I think we all suspected when those regions special competitions first came in that would be like the norm, that everyone would kind of behave that way. And it's probably been far from the truth, where it's a bit more calendar selective specific. XP still relevant in global and regionals. Yeah. I do also think as well, like at some stage, like, because the main problem for me with underdog and specialist leaving is reduction of utility, reduction of potential deployment, because part of the thing I love about those divisions is it means I can play the cards I own. You know, I own enough cards to play these divisions. I want as little to go into training as possible. And we're always saying like, oh, this division could be the throwaway training team and whatever. And you want as many of those divisions really as possible. Like if you've got cards, you back every one of them to an extent, and you can always be surprised with who shows up in a game week. So you want to have as many opportunities to play as many cards as possible. So to remove, let's just say 2 divisions to give it 1, Underdog and Specialist to give it 1. Let's forget about Underdog 45 at limited level. Who knows what's happening with that? There's been no mention of Legends changing or anything, so let's just assume Legends stay and they're unaffected by any of this as well. But to remove 2 divisions to then replace it with 1 is a reduction in deployment potential, and that's something I think they would be smart to correct quickly, and it would probably just be the return of one of these divisions with an adjusted format prize pool or something. I love this. However, my long-term all-star underdog and elite DNP prospect strategy might have to be even longer-term. Time to sell Chuma. I don't know. Why would that be a bit more longer-term? I think, honestly, see when you think of that, Hamai, as an overall strategy that you've got, like, all-star, underdog, and elite DNPs, these changes, like, yeah, they might be totally different to you, but every one of your cards individually will have a purpose and a merit in this new strategy to many people. So, like, can you carve out what your strategy would be in this new scenario with as much of what you've got already? And then the things that you now deem surplus, are enough of them workable to move out, take money away, or move out and bring fresh recruits in, or more cards that are suitable to the task at hand? Is one thing I would say. Maybe slightly boring, but I was really hoping we would get more common divisions announced, like underdogs and regionals. Jake Coyle, I would not be surprised at all if one day they flipped it. I actually think, by the way, I've seen underdog common somewhere. Oh, I'll get 2 notifications here. Join the private leagues. I think I've seen underdog common somewhere. Where did I think I might have been tripping. Maybe I was dreaming, by the way, but I could have swore I was in here recording a video doing something, and I could have swore for the life of me that I seen something like common underdog. I could have swore I seen it somewhere. Maybe it was somebody's like concept tweet. I don't know if anyone done something like that, and maybe I'm tripping. I don't know, but I could have swore on that note that I have seen common competition. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually here. To be quite honest. All-Star prize pool hopefully will increase, going to make it harder there now. Yeah, I think All-Star could get some of the reallocated rewards that are leaving Underdog and Specialist for sure. Hey, man, because I was running 2 and building a 3rd. Now only got 1 lineup probably. Sure. Yeah, well, yeah. What you're probably now going to go and do is what I've been doing for the last year in a bigger, kind of more roundabout way. So yeah, I understand that a bit better, and yeah, I think you'll have fun doing that as well. Yeah, the Global Cup commons, the commons for the Global Cup, I believe they are going to transform into their club counterpart. If they don't have a club counterpart license, they'll just give you another guy that's got the same kind of L15 kind of makeup profile. NBA has underdog common. Oh, is that what it is? Is that what it is, J Coyle? So yeah, NBA's got it. Is that what it is? Guys, great catch on that. Yeah. Make sure you do drop a like, by the way, when you are here. But yeah, that must have been it. So yeah, I think I must have seen it on NBA, like you guys are all saying, and that's probably what's planted the seed in my mind that that's a foreshadowing. You are all shouting at me in the comments. I love it. NBA underdog! Common. Absolutely love it. Well, guys, I'm pretty jacked. We've been going for about 55 minutes or so. There's a bunch of these here. I think I've got through most of the points in the comments. I'm going to hang on until we've been going for an hour, which is another 5 minutes on the stream. So if there's anything to do with this announcement that we've not broached on or spoke about, I'm going to have another glance through the article as well. But if there's anything we've not spoke about that is important, we will cover that, of course. But otherwise, I think we'll take this 5 minutes to anything you guys want to throw it at me. Have an wee glance over this, make sure we've not missed anything. The Global Unique division is going away, which I think is one of these divisions that the kind of Blackpool hater accounts really do hate seeing. There's this unique division that pays out like free ETH and only like 5 guys play in it. So that's gone now, which is interesting, I suppose. But yeah. And again, I think this is the part that I would really take away from this the most, you know, is that the signal of intent that this article has delivered. It's not like, or like I say, everything else with thresholds to this point has been so ambiguous, but this is a very clear battle cry. This is what we're about. This is what our game is, and this is own your game. NFTs, fantasy football cards, the fucking nexus of every football game that you've ever enjoyed is here. It really is. Like, and I really don't have any qualms saying that. There's lots of content on the channel that's already recorded and ready to rock that says as much, that I now need to probably go back and update and say it's even fucking better than I thought it was. That's just my take on this. I think it's quality. Joshy Fourth, good afternoon all. You need 250 points unlimited to get $5. I don't think that's bad, is it? Have I missed that conversation piece there? Oh, I think the chat threw all the way back into the middle of the stream there, sorry. We need to remember that this is till July, and then that will swing around quickly. Yeah, time will fly, guys, it really will. Quinny, you are a legend, mate. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. No problem, Arsenal, dude, I do my best. I think Underdog goes back to being cyclical special weekly event. That could happen as well, Mikey. But I do think, like, they do need to cater for, like, limiteds. Like, I've got 190 limiteds. How the fuck has that happened? You know, I'm only swearing because we're in this deep into the stream and probably nobody's watching anymore. But it's not watching us live. Of course, Weasel Mount, thanks for joining us, my man. Please do like the stream, guys, when you're here. But yeah, I can see them bringing back special weeklies maybe again, and they have alluded to that in this part of the article. Real life experiences. So we might get this special weekly return in its original form, where it is like a special theme for a special prize all the time. That could be good. I hope they will add the L15 score beside the L5 score under the card, so you will not have to click the card to see the L15. Yeah, Simon Racing, yeah, definitely some UI changes will definitely, you would imagine, be changed to make this much, because they, again, explain in detail in this article, they don't want overcomplication for anyone joining this new. They want everything to be nice and easy and simple, and there's not any special rules for this, and if you do this and it's limited and it's only in rare we pay this, and blah de blah, and goalkeepers here and whatever. So yeah, I would go along with that. Good evening everyone. Weasel Mount, of course. Important, NBA works so well because they discontinue injured players. Yeah, so they've been, whoever is in control of the NBA auctions, I must admit, has been very good on that. Like, yeah, so that's something that, again, so rare. There's so many football players now. Like, if you look at Liam Scales, who I bought earlier today, he's had like no auctions. So even guys that are playing, we do struggle to get them out auctioned in general, you know. So yeah, I do think overall that this is probably a good move for the market in general. Overall, good news. Sucks for us struggling to get into rare, but not horrendous. I think it makes the progression more worthwhile, I would suggest, you know. But yeah, if you are halfway, you were almost about to do it. It's in the end of January, you know, so if you were going to be playing for thresholds over the festive period and into the new year, that's still going to happen, you know, and you can use that time to realign. Wasn't sure how I felt, but with my gallery being 99% Celtic, I feel our players chop and change so much. We should keep low enough L15s to the point I'm not having to invest for more players. Jay Coyle, that's exactly what I'm saying, man. Celtic forwards are going to be the best cards to have this division. Abada, Maeda, Giacomakis, Kyogo, they're all going to play 30 or 60 minutes every game week. And they're all capable of doing something, you know, no matter when they come on the pitch. So yeah, making quite right in that respect as well. They need to remove DNP from L15 now. Yeah, so there will be some UI and UX changes just to make sure it doesn't get gamified and cheated and that kind of stuff as well, and just makes it fair for all involved, I guess. Welcome, Jay, of course, as well. Fist bump, my man. I really miss the specialist and underdog competitions, to be honest. Replacing those 2 or 3 with only 1 competition isn't good enough. Yeah, overall, I agree, Jonathan Gargi. I think we need more deployment for limiteds, especially. Maybe not as much in the rares and the like, you know, but for limiteds, I definitely feel that deployment is a key aspect, and reducing the amount of deployment available, I don't think is good for limiteds in general. For my happiness of playing limited, you know, but hey, it's not all about me. Got GG, Kyogo, Bernat, and Taylor. Bring on the rotation. Now, I don't want any left-back rotation. I've also brought Scales in for that as well, that if I do think Bernaby's going to start, then I've got Scales, who I know will start for Aberdeen, kind of idea. So, again, he's my poor man's Celtic rotation defensive cover, you know, along with Jens, and maybe see if I pick up anyone else along the way. I was just building my profile to hit specialists as well. It's fair for all users. Yeah, I think if we're building for specialists, this is better because it's the same criteria, kinda, and you're getting money as well as cards probably. There should be a common cap soon, realistically, if for maybe a quid. except when we play Celtic. Yeah, Weasel Mount. I don't know who we is for you, Weasel Mount. But yeah. Oh, Aberdeen, of course. Because I'm talking about Liam Scales, of course. Yeah. I get that. Magic. But yeah, guys, I've had a great time in the afternoon. Thanks very much to everyone that's watched this. If you've watched this after we've been live, thanks very much to yourself as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one. Plenty of content on the channel. Take care. Bye-bye. That was great fun.